Have you ever thought why Janelle and Meri never really got along? You know, on the show for a long time, Meri kind of danced around it. And she said very early on in the very beginning that part of the reason why she had a struggle with Janelle coming into the family was related to she and Cody courting this other girl, and then that friendship kind of, and that courtship blowing up, and then suddenly Cody decides he's going to bring in Janelle, and she just really needed to kind of sit on that, and she wasn't really ready for that or prepared for that. But in truth, Janelle was married to Meri's brother, Adam. Adam has now passed away. But she and Adam were a thing. And Meri, until this season, has never brought up on the show until now that one of her problems with Janelle was that she was married to her brother. Janelle is kind of oblivious even today that this is the root cause of their troubles. You see, Janelle and Adam, they met in high school and they dated in when she was in high school, and they were together for a year and a half before they dated. It's not like you just get married, right? And then they were married and together for a couple years. And Janelle thinks that because she was only married to Meri's brother for a short amount of time, that it wouldn't have been an issue for Meri that she joined the family. See, this is the part that I've just never understood about Janelle. Like, how does she not understand that you are, Meri because you were married to her brother? Meri invited you into her life and to her wedding because you were her brother's wife. You had a friendship with Cody and Meri because you were Meri's brother's wife, right? There wasn't this existing bond between them, right? And Janelle never understood, and even in the book Becoming Sister Wives, seemed rather oblivious as to why Meri would have a problem with her. And I've never understood that. Like, even in the world of polygamy, right, where you're supposed to accept that your spouse takes on other women, the wives do and are supposed to have a choice, but I don't think Meri really had a choice. I think Cody just was like, I'm going to bring in Janelle. And Meri had to be okay with it, and I can see why Meri would have a problem with Janelle. Like, you were at my wedding with my brother. You divorced my brother and then quickly got with my husband. That seems very weird. Here is how Meri wrote about it in the book. I'm not sure when it became apparent to me that Janelle wanted to join our family. Of course, since she had once been married to my brother, I had known her for several years. We had a cordial friendship. Even after her divorce, I thought of her as a sister-in-law, and it never occurred to me that she would one day be a sister wife. If Cody had feelings about Janelle that were anything other than platonic, he didn't share them with me. I knew that he respected her intellect and her work ethic, and he had a deep respect for the way that she conducted herself on an emotional level. I was shocked when Janelle approached Cody and asked to come into our family, but not unpleasantly so. After all, she was close to my family already, and she was one of the people Cody and I associated with on a pretty regular basis, so it didn't seem too far of a stretch to imagine her as a permanent fixture in our lives. I have to admit, part of me was relieved that Cody and Janelle weren't a conventionally romantic pair. I didn't feel that Janelle's presence in our lives in any way threatened the love in Cody that Cody and I shared. So, in the book back in the day, she was very careful about how she described this union. And honestly, what I think is very disrespectful, if you go to how it's supposed to be in this family and how this society is supposed to work, Janelle is not supposed to approach Cody and tell him that he wants to join her family, their family, without talking to Meri first. So she is supposed to not just approach Cody, she is supposed to talk to an elder at the church, and then the elder at the church is supposed to approach Cody to talk about it, and Meri is supposed to be involved in it. And what I think is clear is that Meri wasn't included in it. She kind of sidestepped all of these norms in their church and in their practices because of that pre-existing friendship. And I think Meri said she was okay with it because she had to be okay with it. But I think that was the original sin, is like, you were married to my brother. You didn't go through the right channels. It's kind of a lot of similar to what happened with Robin. It was very short. We were married for less than a year. When the talk about Janelle coming into our family started happening, it was really hard for me. It was a tough thing to wrap my head around. On multiple levels, just because she had been married to my brother, and so it was it was definitely a thing for me for sure. Something I've never understood about Janelle is that her story about her marriage to Adam doesn't match the actual records or the timeline, because her divorce from him was not completed until well after Meri and Cody were married, right? And she acts like the relationship was over within a year, but she was married longer than a year. And it looks as though when she got married to Adam, she really enjoyed his family and didn't want to lose his family. I mean, that's what she says in the book. And she says that Meri's family kind of took her in and wanted to teach her about the faith, and she was invited to all of these events, but she kind of always leaves out the part that she was still with Adam when she met Cody, right? She was still with Adam when she was at the wedding for Cody and Meri. She was not separated from him. And I don't know if she tells the story differently to sort of shield herself from the shame she might have. I don't know. There's sort of this way that she kind of discounts this. And maybe it's just because she's trying to describe a very complicated situation. Maybe it's denial. I don't know. But even in the book, her account of meeting Cody doesn't even make sense. She didn't like Adam because he had very little moral conviction, and she said his family, however, fascinated me. I would tell my friends my in-laws are polygamous, and I was proud to know people in a community they were a novelty. One of the reasons I was so transfixed by Adam's relatives was that they were so seemingly normal. In fact, they were totally conventional and contemporary. They didn't live behind closed doors or follow any strange customs. They worked, they practiced, participated in the society. They sent their kids to neighborhood schools. They didn't dress weirdly as some sects did. If only I had been as enamored with my husband as I was with his family. Unfortunately, Adam and I had problems from the start. We weren't spiritually, emotionally, or romantically fit. We lived together for only 6 months before he moved out. And I don't believe that's true if you look at the records. And then the way that she frames it, she acts like she met Cody once she was already split. But that's not true either. Although my husband and I had separated, I stayed close to his family, including Adam's sister, Meri. Little did I know how close we'd finally become. At first, I have to admit it was a curiosity that drew me to them. But then I began to feel emotionally involved in them. I liked the large gatherings and the complex and generous idea of family that they presented. At the time, his father had 4 women and too many children to count. Some were adults, like my husband, and some were still in grade school. His parents went out of their way to include me in their events and to make me feel welcome in their lives. Their group always close-knit and friendly. Even though I was still a member of the Eld's Church, I was always welcome to attend their meetings. One evening, they asked me to a fireside presentation, which is an informal spiritual get-together. My ex-husband's sister, Meri, was there. Since I had married her brother, I was friends with Meri. I knew that she was dating a young guy, Cody Brown. With them, she was clearly smitten. Although Meri talked about Cody a great deal, I had never met him. That evening, when Cody walked into the house to join the party, the weirdest feeling washed over me. I felt if I had forgotten something and suddenly remembered it. It was a feeling of relief and understanding. But it was in the middle of a horrible divorce, and I had no idea how to handle the feeling. Cody's entry conjured in me. So I packed it away and made a mental note to deal with it later. My divorce was not yet finalized, so I still went certain functions with my arranged husband. One of them was Meri and Cody's wedding. A little more than a year after my own wedding, my divorce was completed. Okay, so what is really strange is that she was split from Adam. She filed for divorce just 2 months before Cody and Meri were married. But if you remember, Cody and Meri got engaged very quickly. They were married within 6 months. And so it's very likely that she got the invite for this wedding when she was still married to Adam. She says that she married and separated within a year, but that's not true because the records show that she was married on December 8th, 1988. And her divorce wasn't she didn't file for divorce until February of 1990. So a year and 2 months later, and then it wasn't settled until I think June or July of 1990. So she was going through a divorce when Cody and Meri were married. She wasn't going through a breakup when she first met Cody though, right? And she wasn't separated with him from him at all. She didn't file according to court papers until February 26th of 1990. The judgment was made on June 8th of 1990. Cody and Meri were married in April of 1990, April 21st. So, she met Cody when she was still married to Adam, and she had feelings for him. Whether she wants to accept that or not, I don't know why she still attended their wedding with Adam, even though they were going through a divorce. Kind of feels like maybe she was going there because she had feelings for Cody. I have no idea. The whole thing just never sat right with me, and even now, Janelle doesn't appear to understand why there's problems. I'll show you what she says here, and then I'll also tell what else happened after Janelle approached Cody to join the family. I don't know about Meri, but for me it wasn't really a thing. It was such a small period of time, like it just almost was like, didn't really matter. Okay, so what's so weird though is that she's like, it wasn't that it wasn't a thing for me because it was such a short amount of time. But if you read the book, it's weird because Cody says that at one point in time after he gets like laid off, he goes to a temp agency and Janelle's like the person that helps him find temporary work and she does the payroll and whatever, and he hits on her while she's at work. This is after her breakup. Then a couple years later, she shows up in Montana with a guy and Cody's still trying to get Janelle to be with him. All of this is happening behind Meri's back. Okay. Then when they decide Janelle decides she's going to be a polygamist, she approaches Cody and asks Cody for a moment alone without including Meri. She's staying over at their house. Cody asks Meri to go to bed, and then Janelle tells Cody that she feels like she needs to join the family. So Meri's sleeping, and unbeknownst to her, Cody had been hitting on her Janelle for a while. Janelle had had feelings for Cody for years, and Janelle suddenly wants to join the family, but instead of asking Jan, Cody, and Meri together, she does Cody separately, which is bizarre. And then as they're planning their wedding, they actually decided that they were going to get married on Meri's birthday. And again, this is not included in Janelle's report. It's Meri's account in the book where this comes. So, there's something about the way she retells stories that it's, I don't know if it's denial or what it is, but one thing that was this is from the book. One thing that was tough was the timing of Cody and Janelle's wedding. They planned it to take place on my birthday, thinking that it wouldn't be a big deal. Looking back, I realized a lot of my problems with their marriage were really because I thought they were being extremely insensitive. Birthdays are important to me. I felt like I was being totally overlooked, even when they offered to celebrate their future anniversaries on a different day. It shocked me that my husband would think this was a good idea. But it baffled me even more that a woman who was wanting to join our family would even think for a minute to do it on the birthday of a future sister wife. Fortunately, Cody's mom got involved and convinced them to move their wedding to the day after my birthday. While I had wished them all the happiness in the world, I was not prepared as I thought myself to be. Their courtship was so quick that when the wedding day arrived, I was struck by the thought that I was going to be sharing my husband. And it was harder than I thought it would be. No matter how much you're committed to the principle of plural marriage, the first time the truth hits you, it's a total shock. For 3 years, Cody and I had been nearly inseparable, and now there was going to be a new person in our midst permanently. So the entire relationship and the way they went around it was just completely inappropriate and insensitive to Meri, right? It defied reasoning and the rules of this church, and Cody being a convert and Janelle being a convert didn't seem to take into account how things were done within this church. And I think that was a common problem within the family, was the culture that Cody and Janelle came from was the outside world. And Meri and Christine were not from the outside world. And the way they do things within the cult is different than how they handle things in the real world. And so I think there was just cultural issues, but I think there was a real lack of sensitivity to Meri. And I think the failure for Janelle to kind of really reflect on what Meri's experience would have been like and why that would have been hard for her even today, it kind of shocks me. And I don't know why she's like this. I don't know if it's the cognitive dissonance and the denial that she has to live in to justify that this is what happened and to not accept what she's done, or if it's just a way to avoid accountability in the challenges that they had in their relationship. Because Janelle acts like she walked in and everything was going to be great and was shocked when it wasn't, when it appears like she was wanting Cody and she didn't really consider how that would impact Meri or the optics of what it was. And then mind you, Cody's mom, Cody's dad, also married Janelle's mom before they even got together. So there was just so much that was messy with Janelle's joining the family. And Meri had no time to even wrap her head around that. And no matter what people say about Meri, the first wife, it's impossible to recognize or even wrap your head around what it would be like to be married for 3 years and then suddenly your husband's like, yep, we're going to add this woman and you're going to be okay with it. They'd never been intimate. They'd never kissed. They had no bond outside of being friends, Janelle and Cody. And then now she has to share a home with this woman that was once married to her brother, a woman who wanted to get married on her birthday. And then Janelle had such a problem with Cody and Meri being physically affectionate that she had to have her mom tell Cody to stop being friendly with Meri in front of Janelle. It seems like Janelle just either lives in an alternate world so that she can manage what she does, or it's denial or it's ambivalence to other people. But there's something about her I've never understood how she doesn't get why there were problems between her relationship with Meri and why Meri might have been hard on her. It's strange even today for her to say it wasn't a thing. I don't get it, you guys. I'll never get it. So, what are your thoughts? Tell me in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, besties.